It just got added to this weekend's card, Meat Boy, but it essentially is the dopest fight on this just pretty abysmal card top to bottom. Jack Della Maddalena, they found him a fight. He's fighting against Bassil Hafez, who is making his debut, and this is a guy I know you've been singing his praises for a long time. He was the former Fury FC champ, the CFFC champ, and has always historically trained with a lot of tough guys, whether it's with Body Bags, Sean Brady out in Philly, or most recently he's trained with Usman and Snoozebro and Gaethje. I mean, we've seen Bassil Hafez float around for a little while, so he's stepping up on just a few days' notice, and Jack Della finally gets to fight, right? We know the story. He was supposed to fight last weekend, originally against Sean Brady, and then it became Josiah Harrell, and the pre-fight medicals yielded issues for Josiah Harrell. He had to pull out from that one, and JDM did as well. So they decided not to send him backpacking across the earth and got him a fight against Half-Ass in this one. So I'm interested, Meat Boy. I know you've been singing Basil's praises for a while. So do you think this guy's going to come in off the street 5 days' notice and be able to beat a ranked guy like JDM, or at minus 625, is JDM going to be too hungry and too much of a lock for the debutant? Who are you taking?
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, this card was probably top three worst card, ever to exist in the UFC. And then when I got wind that Jack Della is going to be added, this just became my top five favorite card. I'm so excited to watch this fight. This is an amazing, last second meat bomb, and I'm just so excited for the hype train to officially be derailed because my boy Basil's coming in hot. He's going to absolutely ragdoll him and take that away. So I'm just so excited for this. This is very high level. It's a classic grappler for striker fight. If Bassil can get Jack Della to the ground, he is done. Basil's no joke. Elite grappler, elite jiu-jitsu. I mean, I just can't imagine getting past the first round if he can get him down. Jack, his striking, it looks like, Rosenstrike. He's got that lip job, instant KO, weird power that, what the heck was that? And you get sent to the Shadow Realm. He's got crazy power. His striking, it doesn't look good to me, but it's been really working out, so it's hard to deny him that he is a very good striker. It's just weird. It doesn't make sense how good he is. It's kind of right for me right now. Jack Della is kind of like Dricus du Plessis, so bad, but yet his striking is somehow elite and gets the job done always. But yeah, I'm really excited for this fight. This should be a banger.
Yeah, it should be a banger for sure. And we know that Half-Ass is going to be trying to take him down, right? I mean, this is a guy, I mean, you're talking about Maddalena striking and whether it's as good as advertised, but I mean, the guy does have 11 knockouts. He only has 14 wins, so 11 of them coming by knockout. And all we've seen from him thus far, 4 fights in the UFC, 4 first-round finishes, and 3 performance of the night bonuses for Jack Della. So he's going out there and he is finishing dudes with strikes early and often, but if you look at Half-Ass, he's 8-3-1, and all of his losses are by split decision. And that one was even a very confusing split draw against Jeremiah Wells. And we maybe are a little bit late to the Jeremiah Wells party, but Wells has kind of been on a nice little streak in the UFC. So if that is your worst loss, and that was even a draw that you technically maybe even won, it's not that bad of a look for Half-Ass for sure. But you mentioned how you think Half-Ass is going to try and take Jack Della down. We haven't seen him tested too mightily in that department, so I'm curious to see if that is the route he chooses. But I don't know, Meat Boy, because Tapology isn't really that convinced that Half-Ass is going to be able to do that, because 97% is rolling with JDM. It's basically all Brown for that KO, so they tend to think that even though Half-Ass only loses splits, that he's probably getting slept by a JDM meat bomb. Do you think that they're tripping, and do you see sincere value at the plus 450, plus 475 range that you're going to be getting from Half-Ass?
Yeah, I love those odds that I'm seeing, and I know how good this guy is, and I don't know how good Jack's grappling is, and I mean, dude, the Basel guy, he's a first degree black belt, been doing it for almost 20 years, like, it's the elite of elite when it comes to jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Like you said, I mean, split with Jeremiah Wells. Jeremiah Wells is an absolute animal when it comes to grappling and striking, so that says enough. This is going to be fireworks. And I follow Basil on Instagram, and he's been posting a lot of Troy clips and just saying, he's going to fight, and make a name for himself, and everyone's going to know who he is because he's taking a fight no one wants to. So the way this guy's mindset is, I just don't see how he's going to lose this fight, even though he is probably going to be, pushing to a plus 1,000 very soon, and no one even knows who he is. This could be a juicy one, so I'm excited. I'm definitely going to put a little seasoning on with these odds because I like the upset in it, and I like first round finish, so the under also. That's probably my favorite move. That way you're playing both sides, but this is going to be a very good fight.
Yeah, I think the under could be sharp because I do see a world where maybe JDM, like he always does, gets a first round finish, and like you said, that would cover both sides. If Half-Ass comes in and, like a Spartan, makes a true name for himself. But another thing I was going to ask you about, Meat Boy, is JDM just cut a lot of weight last weekend, right? I mean, you got to imagine he thought he was going to be fighting last weekend, then suddenly he wasn't. So, any concern? I mean, we remember when Tony Ferguson, was supposed to fight one weekend, and then the next weekend he cut all the weight, got absolutely smoked by Gaethje. Any concern that the JDM weight cut might factor in this final?
Yeah, that's a good point. Doing two weight cuts back to back, that's got to be brutal. So that could come into play, and this could be an absolute juicy dog, just sizzler right in front of us. And something to keep in notice, like Basil's striking is questionable, but he hasn't fought in a little bit, and he's been prepping for this fight, or to get to the UFC for this year. But they're fast tracking him right now versus Jack Dilla, which is insane to be honest for a debut. But he's been training for the last couple of years. Everyone thinks he's in Philly. No, he left Philly. And, my insiders say he's training with Trevor Whitman. He's the main grappling and sparring partner of Kamaru Usman. He's training with Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, all of these guys. Rose Namajunas, like training with her too, getting all the juice from her. And then Trevor Whitman. His striking is probably so leveled up in the last 2 years that this is going to be competitive on the feet. It would not surprise me because Trevor Whitman does that. He's an amazing coach, amazing striker, like striking coach. And I mean, look at Usman's improvements, right? If he could do it with Usman, I'm banking on he's doing it with Bassil, and I think this could be more competitive even on the feet too, purely because of that.
Yeah, I buy that, right? I mean, the longer you're working with Trevor Whitman and training with those elite guys, then of course your skills will double as well, double, triple, quadruple as well. So, nonetheless, though, Meat Boy, 97% as mentioned, rolling with JDM, only 3%. That is his friends and family, and you is rolling with Half-Ass. And this one, Meat, I do like your point. I like how you mentioned the self belief and the power of self belief because this dude Half-Ass is very determined, seems very confident, and we saw what a little bit of self belief does for Dricus du Plessis last weekend. I mean, that guy truly believes in his skill set, and as a result, like you mentioned, keeps finding ways to win fights. So perhaps Bassil is cut from that same cloth, but I got to roll Jack Dell on this one. I just think he is in that sort of, we were discussing earlier, like who are the elite strikers at 170, and I think that Jack Della might be one of those guys. And I'm interested to see though when he gets tested in the grappling department, because we anticipate he will in this fight. What does that look like? Maybe, I mean, Jack Della is a little bit more proficient in that area than he's been able to display thus far. But if it does get dangerous there, then yeah, I see your point. I think that with the self-belief and those juicy odds, you might be on something with Half-Ass. But for me, I got to roll with the safe Jack Della. But at minus 650, definitely staying far away from that because it just seems very sketchy. So, any last thoughts?
No, yeah, it definitely seems sketchy with those kind of odds. Especially a lot of people don't really know about Bassil, so this could be one of the biggest upsets ever, or could be one of the saddest debuts of all time. It just depends how good Jack actually is. I guess we will find out.